Um, all right, it's live. EB's Marathon, episode 14, and checking in, weekly update with Ert. How you feeling, man? What's
Yeah,
going on?
right. All right. Feeling better. Had a little bit of a rough week, but yeah, kind of back to
What
normal now.
and what do you when you say rough week for those? I know you were had a little bit of graft versus host. You think, or
Yeah,
in
yeah.
some sort?
Graft versus host. I actually had my bone marrow biopsy last Friday. Everything's good there. No leukemia, so all of that is great. You know, it's great news. That's what we want to hear. But it's kind of like there's always got to be the villain in the movie, and the
Right,
villain right now has kind of been graft versus host, and that's
right,
where the cells from the donor attack me. It's kind of like it's a foreign object to them. My body is a foreign object to them, and it attacks my body, and it usually starts with the skin. So I had some problems with it back in June that were pretty mild compared to what I've been kind of dealing with the last week or so. So about Friday evening last week, I kind of started just feeling tired and lethargic, and I ended up sleeping most of the day and most of the night, and then I started having fever, and basically went through the whole weekend with that. And I've gotten so used to these things now. I kind of felt like it was graft versus host, but it could have very well been an infection too.
right.
So that's just kind of me. I'm kind of hard headed because Melanie was kind of trying to get me to go to the emergency room. I wasn't really feeling that because I just felt like they probably was going to try to admit me. You know what I'm saying? And I just didn't want to go through all of that. So I kind of toughed it out through the weekend. I probably shouldn't have done that. But
Yeah, quit that shit.
I was really kind of convinced though that it was graft versus host, and it wasn't an infection. But I didn't really know that for sure. So anyway, on Monday, I think I had a doctor's appointment, and they ended up sending me to the dermatologist on Tuesday, and they did a little, skin biopsy, and of course, it did come back that it was graft versus host, but it had made it up to stage 2 because the first bout I had with it was stage 1. And with the stage 2, it kind of was, attacking my skin, but it got like 50% of my body. So it went from just like face and behind the ears to like crawling
Hmm.
down my neck, and it was kind of on my face. And it's still there. It's drying up now, but it kind of went down my body, my torso, my arms, and my back. And I hadn't experienced that. And was affecting my eyes. I'd wake up in the morning, my eyes would be all nasty and gunked over. And yeah, so it was, I ain't gonna say it was scary, but it was definitely a different experience. It was something that I hadn't experienced before, since this journey started. So, and they basically, like I said, they confirmed that it was like graft versus host stage 2. And
Right,
really, once you get to 2, that's kind of where you want it to stop, because the stage 3 would be that it's probably starting to attack the liver. That's usually like the first vital organ that it attacks is the liver. And you just really don't want to go there because you start getting into some deep water when that happens. I just
right,
lost your feed.
right.
I
You
hear
just
you, but
lost
I
it?
don't see you. Hmm.
Okay. It's still up here, so we should be good.
Okay. Cool.
Um,
Cool.
yeah. So, and then would they give you like some steroids or antibiotics or
Yeah, they
what
ended up.
goes on?
They've been trying. Yeah, they've been trying to avoid it for a long time, not giving me any steroids because they were worried about it messing up my blood sugar and my blood pressure. Blood sugar, with me being a diabetic, was their main concern. And but yeah, they went ahead and gave me like a half dose of the prednisone, because the prednisone, I guess the 80 milligram would be like a full dose. So they gave me 40 milligrams a day. And originally they wanted me to take it according to the instructions was, one 10 milligram pill 4 times a day. And we saw the doctor yesterday and they were like, people never normally take it that way. But they were like, supposed to take all 40 in the morning or whatever with breakfast. And I thought to myself, well, that's probably why it, throws the blood sugars out of whack. Because that 40 milligram all at one time, yeah, I could see it doing that. And actually, we haven't really had any trouble with blood sugar spikes doing the 10 milligram, like 4 times a day. So we kind of decided to stick with that because I'm thinking 40 milligrams at one time. Yeah, I can imagine what that would probably do to your blood sugars, because they were like, if you're over 350, you should call the hospital and this and that. And I'm thinking, yeah, 4 of them at one time probably going to have you in the 400s,
Right.
if you haven't supplemented enough insulin to kind of cover it. So we kind of decided to kind of stick with what we've been doing because it seems to be clearing it up, especially around the neck and the face area has gotten much better just almost immediately when I started taking it. The body stuff was a little more new and it kind of popped up over the weekend while I was having the fevers and all of that stuff. So it may be a little slower to start clearing up, but I kind of feel like it's kind of clearing up too. It's not quite itching as bad as it was because I was itching terribly. I was miserable there for about 3 days or so, 4.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a little scary because it was kind of like right after the biopsy and it was like, man, and of course, you think in your mind, is leukemia coming back or is it back, So it was good to get the biopsy results and see that, the leukemia is, gone pretty much. And so, yeah, the graft versus host, though, is the next worst thing that can happen, especially if it advances on you. And so that's kind of been my message to people is that, yeah, leukemia coming back is the absolute number one worst thing that could happen. Because at that point, they could try another transplant, but that success rate is like chopped in half if you have to do it a second time. And it's already at about 60%, 70%. So if you have to undergo another one, you're probably looking at about 30%, and the chances just aren't good on a second transplant. And then, and there's some other options, but I've read about some of the other options, and they ultimately end with the D word. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to mess with none of that. So none of them are really good. They just extend life a little longer for you. So yeah. So the leukemia, yeah, that is definitely number one. But after the leukemia, kind of like I told you the other night, the next problems 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all pretty much kind of like graft versus host related, and more than likely people who don't survive these bone marrow transplants, it's more or less because they had problems with graft versus host, or graft versus host got to the point to where it was like stage 4 and it was attacking kidneys and lungs and liver, heart, things like that. So yeah, it's definitely nothing to play with, but right now, I don't really think, we're at a point to where it's, like really bad or anything. And I think it's getting better with the prednisone. And like I said, they tried their best not to put me on the prednisone, but ultimately, and I kind of had predicted, I kind of felt like I was going to end up having to take it, because with me having a mismatched donor, not a perfect 10, it's a 9 out of 10, which is good, but that opens you up for more problems.
Right.
So,
and then you were saying too, though, there's people who they go on, they can live like a relatively normal life, but they have, small battles with, would you say chronic graft versus host?
That graft versus host, man, it's a mystery. And if you read up on it, doctors, they're kind of like baffled by it because they can't really get a grip on it. And the steroids is usually the first treatment that they try on it. They say that's the first thing they do, because I think they said about 60 to 70% of people who have the bone marrow transplants from an unrelated donor, or even from, I think, even the related donor, is when you get your own stem cells that you really don't have any kind of problems with graft versus host. But yeah, it's something that can stick with you. I might clear it up now and be good and never have any problems with it, or it could return in a month or so, or 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things, man. You don't never really know when it's going to creep up on you, and that's what makes this. I don't know how to explain it. It kind of makes it, it makes it kind of complicated, because you could go a year and everything be going great, and then all of a sudden, maybe some graft versus host, attacks your body again or whatever. And so I've seen people that have said, they dealt with it up until the 100-day mark. I've seen other people say this shortly after the 100-day mark, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year. Some people have said it took them 3 years to get over it, 5 years to get over it. And then I've seen some people said that they've been, that in some cases people will deal with it for the rest of their life, So it is really kind of unpredictable,
Right. You're at what, day 88?
Shoot, I'm at day 95.
Are you day 90?
Day 95, yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah, I'm about ready to crawl out the window of this bitch and head on to the house.
So are you still on track to get out of there by day 100?
I think so. They kind of threw it out there at my appointment on, was that Thursday, yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. They kind of threw it out there that, maybe they might want me to stick around an extra week. And we kind of had to let them know, you know what? We're paid up through day, what basically would be I guess 105 or 104. Is that right? 101. Yeah, 102. So technically, I got 3 appointments on Thursday, and we're paid up to where we'd have to check out of here on Friday at 11. And we're actually wanting to just roll up out of here after the last appointment on Thursday. Because that's actually, like I said, it's actually day 101. And, and, we had visit with the nurse practitioner. And of course, they have to run that by my main doctor, Dr. Murthy. And I told you, Dr. Murthy don't really play. He pretty serious. He pretty serious about his shit. But I don't really see us having any problems. I think as long as his graft versus host clear up, which is what she kind of looked at, as long as it's clearing up and everything else seems to be doing well, she said, I don't really foresee a problem, but he will have the final say on it, though,
Right.
But
now, with that prednisone, you got to get up and you got to walk around and shit. You going to fuck around and look like a clump.
I got on a treadmill today. That's the first time I had been on there in about a week, because that's how bad I was feeling. I just wasn't myself. Yeah. But yeah, that prednisone, I read about it. No, it ain't no joke.
Yeah.
It ain't no joke. I wish I could hit some weights so I could bulk up right quick.
Get swollen on the ass.
Yeah. Hit about 75 home runs, break some records, and all of that good shit.
Man, it's Friday and stuff, so obviously we're doing this. I got a different background. I'm in Joplin right now, hanging out with the family and whatnot. But and everybody, of course, says hi and they love you, and everybody's asked a million questions about you and wanting to know, how you are and stuff. So, and obviously they've been watching the little updates, so that's been pretty cool. But last week you always have some good stories. Is there like a good story that you have or a memory that you have that you'd like to share this week? I know usually we fall into it kind of organically, like you something happens and you go into a story. But is there anything that like comes to
Man,
mind? Because
honestly,
you got
talking to you and Jordan last night, man, it had to be the Uncle Philip story. It had to be the, on the way to Waffle House. That was on my mind last night. And I ain't going to get too in depth on that because, I don't want to be putting everybody's personal business out there. But
hey, you ain't hurt my feelings.
And long story short, we was all kind of faded. Yeah. And
we were feeling no pain.
We weren't feeling no pain. Yeah. Marijuana smoke was deep that night. And like I said, I hope ain't nobody go get in no trouble or be like, oh, why was you doing that night? Because this was many, many years ago, And honestly, me and Jordan wasn't even smoking. We both had contact high shit. And we was rolling down Range Line, headed to the Waffle House. And everybody kind of was hungry, had the munchies. Everybody started naming. We got to talking about what was we wasn't even talking about Waffle House. We was talking about what's that restaurant out by
damn
Cheddar's. Yeah, we got to talking about Cheddar's. We was hungry, and munchies had kicked in. Everybody was talking about their favorite things at Cheddar's. I like the steak. I like the chicken. I like the ribs, all the meat, the the stuff that you go to pay for. And Philip jumps in there, and Philip is talking about. He quiets everybody down because he just had to have the floor, to himself. And he was like, "You know what I like?" We was like, "What?" Yeah, he said, "Them hot buttery rolls." Croissants.
Yes. He said croissants.
Croissants.
He's like,
and of course,
I like a hot
just
croissant.
Like that. And everybody got quiet. And Kellen said, "Shut your white ass up." Talk about some hot buttery croissants. Because your usual black man gonna be like, "Man, I like that hot ass bread with that honey." You know what I'm saying? He broke it down. He broke it down just like it was on the menu. Hot buttery croissants.
He said hot buttery croissant.
Yeah, like he was from France or somewhere.
Oh. That's what he did. Like he was from France.
Yeah, it's just one of them memories, man. We all just cracked up, Everybody's eyes is red. Right. Everybody's either high, got contact high. It was just one of those classic nights, And with me being away from Joplin, that's just like one of my favorite memories, I left Joplin in 2012, so I've been gone about 10 years now. And I ain't gonna lie, I always talk bad about Joplin. I never really had a whole lot of love for Joplin, but as soon as I left, I realized I had a lot of love for Joplin. You know what I'm saying? As weird as Joplin can be, and Joplin is weird as fuck, Yeah. You can quote me on that. That ain't gonna never change. But I always had a lot of love for Joplin, And honestly, if you look back at my life, I've been a lot of places. From Memphis to San Diego to Denver to Tulsa, Oklahoma to Joplin to, Orlando, Port Orange, Daytona, Port Orange, and New Smyrna now, Joplin's actually the place that I've lived the longest out of all those places that I've been, So, I got some good memories on Joplin. I still get sad thinking about the tornado. I mean, like I say, as much as I dog Joplin out and talk about it, I got just as much love. Probably even more love for Joplin and the people that live there. And some of the friendships and relationships that I made when I lived there. But that's one of my classics there. I'll never forget that story. I'll never forget that night,
Yeah. Yeah. Whenever we're all together, we tell that story, and it's, yeah. I mean, the laughter was off the chain. So I think you have somebody step in and say hello.
Oh,
What up, BB?
Shorty Swole's mother.
Be nice.
Yeah.
Be nice.
I'm doing all right.
How you doing? You look
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, ready to go. We ready to go. We anxious. It's time to go home. And
So what do you have, 5 days or so?
probably
Hopefully a week?
Thursday. That's the hope. Got 3 appointments on Thursday, and we plan on hitting the highway. So it's going to be a
Hell
battle
yeah.
if they try to say any different, you know. Plus, we got to check up out of here. We ain't nobody trying to pay for no more hotels. We don't spend enough money in hotels this year that, you know, I should have rewards to go everywhere. Shit. Yeah, so
Right.
yeah, that's the hope.
Okay, well, I'm just saying I ain't
Yeah.
gonna stay on y'all's party
Good
here.
to see you. Yeah.
You
All
too.
right.
Take care.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a classic story. And he said, I ain't want to get nobody in trouble, but
Yeah.
shit, we was young and
Yeah, I don't want nobody. Yeah, I don't want nobody's boss
living.
coming to him on Monday talking about, now what's this story I heard over the weekend? You know. Yeah.
Like, well, that was shit. I think I graduated. I was graduating from college at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Well, it is Friday. You got anything going on
We
tonight?
probably chilling.
Any
We
plans?
already had a little Five Guys Friday.
Chilling?
Yeah. Got my little grease fix in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fries be salty. Yeah. The burgers be greasy. Yeah. So
Yeah. Well, I don't want to keep you too much, but I do want you to have the last word, and any good words to
man,
leave us
I
with,
honestly, you know
as you
what? This
typically
week
do.
has been, I don't know, it's been weird. It's been emotional. I got emotional on the treadmill today, just listening to different songs and just thinking about the journey, you know, and how your life, you know, can just be turned upside down overnight. So be blessed, be grateful, you know, love the people that are in your life, keep them close. And even some people that, that maybe used to be in your life or that you used to be close to, reach out to people, man, to check on them, make sure they all right. Cause you just don't know what people are going through. And I just think to myself how, at the end of August, I felt fine. Calendar flipped to September 2021. And right about that first day of September is when I start feeling like, man, something is not right, And a couple weeks later, I got a doctor in my room telling me I have leukemia, man. It's just something that, that you just can't get over that. How in a matter of weeks, my life went from being one thing with all these plans and I'm doing this and we're going to do that. And, and then a couple weeks later, everything was turned upside down. And it doesn't just affect you, it affects everybody that's around you, basically, especially the person that's probably the closest to you, which in my case, is Melanie right now. Her life has been turned upside down,
Absolutely.
Just like mine was, And
Absolutely.
just all the different trips to the hospital and, the back and forth and the chemo and all of that, man, like I say, it's been kind of emotional. Get to me now. But yeah, man, just love the people that are around you. All that little petty BS that be going on in life. You got to get over that, because you never know. Tomorrow is never, they say it's never promised to you, and they write about that. You just don't know what's going to go on in life. And, man, these last 9 months or whatever, 10 months, getting close to 10, or is 10, it's just been tough, man, and it's been a lot of ups. It's been a lot of downs. It's been some good times, And I've tried to stay as positive as I can, but
Right.
I've had some really dark moments, during this journey. And but I kind of I wanted to portray and let people see the good that can come out of even something that seems like it's just terrible. And so that's
Right.
really about it, man. Yeah.
Yeah. You said
Yeah.
it. You said it. So, well, yeah, man, and enjoy this Friday, and
Yep.
yeah, obviously we'll be talking. So,
Yeah.
um, but love you, and
Yes, sir.
we'll do it again next
Hopefully
week.
from my living room at home. Yeah.
Yeah.